It's we'll be more than happy to see you, to meet you.
Hello. Let us know where you're calling in from today.
There's 3 people entering the waiting room. Okay. Oh, hello, Virginie Nagar. You mute. You can unmute yourself.
Yeah, I'm on.
Hello.
Yes.
Hello.
How's it
Hello,
going?
Good. How are you?
Good evening.
I'm good. Good.
Welcome, welcome. If you can put your unmute your, you can still be muted, but you can put your camera on so that we can see your face. This is the Learn Networking event, so it's about networking, seeing each other, which we miss. I know. I'm sorry. We're still, virtual.
I know. Hopefully soon we'll get back to some of those in-person events, right? And we'll have we'll no longer have to say you're muted, I can't hear you. We'll have to figure out the new beginning sentence to talk with people, right?
Yeah, and we also have like a kind of fatigue, Zoom fatigue, honestly.
Yeah.
Seeing each other behind the screen and trying to network and do all those things.
Yeah.
It kind of remind us of what we don't have. So it's not
Right.
easy sometimes. Mostly right now.
Soon, I believe.
Sorry,
This
Ariane?
will be over soon, I believe.
We are closer to that for sure. Hello, Maria. Hello, Emily. Hello, everyone. You can put your camera on if you feel comfortable. We're gonna wait a little bit more, like 1-2 minutes, and
Yes, it's only 32, so let's do 35 maybe.
yeah, okay.
Here we go.
Hello.
Isabel
Hello,
is there.
Maria. I wanted to put some music. I didn't dare. It was like L'amour from Bon Entendeur. I don't know if you know, but I don't know if it was like a good thing to do. I once attended an event where there was music in the while we were waiting. It was really pleasant. So
Yeah. That's nice. I've seen that too in a couple spaces. Yeah.
yeah, you do that, Cindy, sometimes?
I haven't done it myself, but I've been in spaces where they've done that. So it is kind of nice. It's a little, festive.
Hello, Isabel.
Sweet.
Well, and if everybody wants to just pop into the chat, just to say where you're calling from, or just a word about how you're doing today, or are you enjoying the sunshine this afternoon, depending on where you're
Redmond.
And just let us know how everything's going for you today. How excited you are to be here.
Cindy, we're gonna hire you in the committee networking. Really, you're doing a fantastic job. Please, what's your name? Doing good, thank you. What's your name, Margon? What's your first name? Not yet, Ezekiel. Okay. Nicolas. Okay. Hi.
Got it.
Hello.
Nice meeting you. Who else wants to say? I'm going to start. My name is Atika, and I'm calling from Issaquah.
My name is Virginie, and I'm calling from Bellevue.
From where?
Bellevue.
Got it.
Huguette from French Mood. Maria from Seattle, near University of Washington. Ariane. Okay. Okay, we're going to start. So welcome to the second event of this year of Learn Networking. It's a committee from the French American Chamber of Commerce. Today we have many representatives of this Chamber of Commerce. We have myself, I'm a member of the committee Learn Networking, and I'm Atika Scott, and I'm a leadership coach here in Issaquah. We have Huguette Marsicano, who is the chair of this committee. And maybe you can say a few words about this committee, Huguette?
Yes, so this committee for the French American Chamber of Commerce is for allowing members of the chamber to network And usually we have, physical events. So we have a lot of fun, but we're trying to have as much fun on Zoom since 1 year. And so if you want to join, you can find one page dedicated to the committee on the French American Chamber of Commerce website. And you can learn more about it and sign up for our newsletter as well. There is a specific newsletter. So if you sign up for our newsletter, you don't receive all the other news. You can choose to do that too. But if you sign up for the committee, then you just receive our news and our events. So I invite you to do that. Whether you want to participate or not, you're at least informed. So that's all on the website, and you go to committee and then the networking, and then you find more about us. Thank you for being here tonight.
Thank you again. And there's also Ariane, who is our president of the French American Chamber of Commerce. So Ariane, can you introduce maybe yourself and what the chamber, what we do, what you do?
Yeah, so I'm the executive director of the French American Chamber of Commerce. I joined in January 2021, so it's quite new, quite recent. So we are animating the community, the French American community, to different committees, including the networking committee. But we have also committees related to aerospace industry, high-tech and innovation, education, life science. And so our objective is really to animate the French American community and to help companies to settle in Washington State, French companies, yes, to settle in Washington State and vice versa. So please free to look at our website and to reach us for any more information, and to reach me, that's easy.
Okay, thank you. And we have Isabel too, who was a member of the committee and who has to step back a little bit because of too much work. So that's a good problem to have. And so let me introduce you our guest tonight. So the networking don't necessarily have a topic, but right now, as our events are online, we thought that it would be better to gather us around a specific topic. Last month was about real estate, which is a hot topic in Seattle too, and the job search and career development and career growth is also a big topic here. So let me introduce you to Cindy, who is our gracious, generous guest tonight. We met as in our profession as coaches. So she's a remarkable and very well-known coach in Seattle, maybe worldwide, I don't know. But for more than 12 years as a career leadership and development and small business coach, Cindy has helped hundreds of professionals either gain clarity, setting goals, or hit targets, and land new roles, new jobs, change careers, and start new businesses, which is something that, during COVID time, a lot of people have been thinking about. And she also brings 16 years of senior leader business operations experience to her role as a coach, including in recruiting, management, operations, trainings, and sales experience. And right now, today, she's really very well known in this area she's specialized on, around landing new jobs, developing a new business, and advancing in your career. So thank you, Cindy, for accepting to do that for us. And today you're going to start with a poll and then a presentation. It's going to be interactive because we're not that much tonight. And we'll see if we need the breaking room to kind of network and do some exercise together. And then there's Q&A at the end. Okay, if you need to ask any questions, don't hesitate to put that in the chat box, and we'll see if we can answer. You can answer that directly, or if we wait to the end. Okay. Yeah. Anybody has any question? Everybody's fine? Great. Let's start.
Excellent. Well, thank you. Thank you for the opportunity to be here and to talk with this group tonight. And I really enjoy the opportunity to meet with folks and to answer questions and to really help professionals find their next way to their next opportunity, whatever that next opportunity is. And I know that after working with lots and lots of different professionals, that having a strong network, having a great plan, and having a good support system are really key factors in making that work. And my style is very interactive. I like to have fun. So like Tika said, we're gonna have some practice fun things we're gonna do. If you have questions, feel free to raise your hand, like literally raise your hand or raise your little Zoom hand. Put a question in the chat so that I want to make sure, since we're kind of this intimate group, I want to make sure that we get all your questions answered. So even if everybody could just take a quick minute here, I know we have a poll we're going to post in a second, but I'm kind of curious, what did you want to come here and learn tonight? Again, since we're small, I want to really just adapt this to make sure that you get your questions answered. So if you came here with kind of a specific interest or something that you wanted to learn, just go ahead and post in the chat so that we just kind of have a record, and we'll be able to check that as we go along, and maybe Attica can help me, Tika can help do that with me to make sure that that we're addressing everybody's questions throughout the presentation. So great. Yes, definitely we're going to talk about ways to network in COVID. Yeah, so I can do we want to pop up the poll right now, just also find out what kind of current status everybody is in? And so if you can see that on your screen, hopefully, just to get a sense of what everybody's current status is, and where are you at with your current career, profession, or enterprise, whatever you're involved in.
It's also anonymous.
Great. It's always so cool. Everything's in like real time. We get to see everybody answering. Excellent. So wanting to improve professional networking skills. Absolutely. It's a life skill. It's a necessary skill. So we'll definitely talk about that. So currently looking for a job, interested in changing, and unemployed. So we've got everybody from kind of every different category. So I love that. So we're going to cover all those different sections. And I'm going to go ahead and start with sharing my screen. Is that good, Atika?
What did you say, Cindy? What do you want me to
So I'm going to go ahead and share my screen if we want to take that.
Oh, yes. Can you share your screen?
Yep. I'm gonna stop sharing results on the poll here. See if we can close the poll. And
Hi, Natalie. Can you share your screen, or I don't?
I'm going to do that right now.
Perfect. Let me know when you need me. Just call my name.
Let's see if I can get this out of the way here. Of course I need.
You have any problem?
Yep, I'm just trying to move my screen so that I can
Put it in the
here we go.
display
That's
mode.
what I'm trying to do. Couldn't find that button. Okay, everybody. So again, job search strategies to land your ideal role. That's what we're going to talk about today. And quick agenda. I just want to talk about some trends, because I think that right now there's a lot of transition. There's a lot of things that are changing in the job market specifically that impact everybody, impact employers and individuals and employees. So what does that look like for us? How has COVID impacted the actual hiring process, and how do you best get prepared for that? Job search strategy, tips, practices that we can talk about. And we'll have a little bit of fun working on your elevator pitch, and we'll have some time for some Q&A. So that is where we're headed tonight. So to start with, just what's going on in the market? So, we've all lived through this last, kind of traumatic year where, really every industry was impacted with the COVID and the pandemic. And unemployment obviously, was challenging. But I shared that little graph there just to show that we are almost back to where we were back in 2019. And so from a Washington is always a strong economy, especially the Pacific Northwest. We have just great industry here. We have great mix of industries that are really strong in a variety of markets. And so we're in a fortunate part of the country, to be honest, from an employment standpoint. So that's always really nice. And also there's a lot of pent up turnover demand. What that means is that even a year ago, a little over a year ago now, because we're actually in May. So even a little over a year ago, there was a lot of anticipated turnover that folks were wanting to move and shift and leave and transition their different roles. When COVID started, that all shut down. And so now it's all kind of pent up. People are like, oh, is it time? Is it time? Is it time? Can I do it yet? And right now, 52% of workers are expected to look for new jobs in 2021. So that's a huge number. And the reasons for some of these job changes, aren't really surprising, but they do have a COVID impact to them, right? Folks are burnt out. Folks are, burnt out just from what we've had to live through the last year. But they're also burnt out on having to, possibly remain in roles that they weren't excited about, for the last year. So they've also had to probably put on hold promotions and raises. So wanting to find more information, wanting to seek opportunity to make that happen. Better work-life balance, right? That's been a chore this last year. Employees that are not happy with how their job has been or how their company has handled work or how they're still being treated now. Folks that are realizing that, their job was okay, maybe, in January 2020, but by November 2020, maybe they're like, I really don't even like what I'm doing. It just brought up different feelings as we were like immersed in the way that we were doing work for so long. And there's a handful of folks that are leaving the workforce or retiring or needing to take time off for health reasons or child care or parent care. Again, due to the pandemic, maybe they're not, able to go back to a working situation. So a lot of reasons that transitions are happening, which creates huge opportunity. It's not just the unemployed that are going to be looking for work. It is the employed. They're going to be changing jobs and creating this turnover. So it's a great opportunity for everybody in an employment situation when these types of situations occur. So thinking about the impacts of COVID on hiring, only 37% of workers prefer full-time return to on-site work at the office. So there's a lot of talk right now, a lot of transitioning. There's a lot of meetings happening in offices, virtual offices all around the country, trying to figure out how to bring workers back to the office and whether that is even something that makes sense, that is going to happen or not happen, or do employees want that to happen? There's obviously an industry impact of that. There's some industries that need to go back. There's some industry, the retail industry, there's science and research industries that you need to be on site, you need to be working in those spaces. So those places are trying to figure out how to do that safely. There's a lot of industries that we already know that are more easily adaptable to working remotely. And, and employees have gotten more comfortable and more used to this remote work. And so being able to expect that type of work will continue. It will, hybrid work situations, remote work situations, the virtual work situations, and having flexibility around those types of opportunities. And it's not just, it's kind of a two-part flexibility. It's not just the flexibility to work, on site or remotely. It's also the flexibility that we've all taken advantage of your day-to-day work that you need to, everything from take care of your kids in school or run an errand, that the day-to-day in, within those 8 hours of working flexibility is another impact and another effect that's happened that employees have just become more used to. And so employees are going to be expecting this level of flexibility. And because of this turnover in the marketplace, it's going to give employees leverage, which is really powerful to know that that employees are going to have some advantage to set some expectations around what it is that they want and what kind of work it is that they are wanting to pursue and how they want to do that work. And so it warrants even more so putting in that time and effort into identifying what kinds of things do I want to do, what's important to me in my job moving forward, who do I want to work for, why do I want to work for them, answering some of these fundamental questions in terms of what's going to work for you in your life, not just in your job, but how it impacts everything that you're doing. And knowing that that there's a lot of a broad spectrum of that in terms of how employers are going to be addressing that. And the other thing that employers are taking advantage of is that because we're not as bound to location as we used to, that there's opportunity to pursue different roles and different options in a much broader geographic way. And so, companies that used to only hire locally now understand that that might not be, they might not be limited by that. And so while again, in the Pacific Northwest, we do have a strong economy. So, it's not so much, some other states where really looking outside of your area was necessary, but maybe there are opportunities that, that are of interest in other locations around the country that you don't have to move for. And so opening yourself up to that kind of searching and sourcing can provide, new ideas or, again, new opportunities for you. So employers are going to need to, address all these, kind of expectations and demands and desires and needs of employees moving forward. So what to expect in terms of just even some of that hiring process, right? Some of the things that we've been going through are not going to go away. So video interviews, they're here to stay. They're efficient. They're, they've worked. It doesn't mean that that's going to be the only way. Employers do want to bring people into offices and meet them, but there's been a lot of hiring that's happened where nobody has ever met anybody in person. And so understanding that and being comfortable with that, I've talked with a lot of companies that have said early on, there's no way I'm going to hire somebody without meeting them. And sure enough, they have. They've just had to. And the same thing for employees, understanding that, you're going to take a job and work for somebody and with people that you might not ever, meet in person for quite a while. And so adapting to that arrangement is necessary. It might take some, getting your head around a little bit, but, practicing and being comfortable in this virtual way with interviews and with meeting people new is a skill set that everybody's just going to need. An openness to remote working arrangements. That's kind of going back to what I was talking previously, just, being clear about what works for you and what expectations you have on that. And virtual onboarding, again, it's a big topic that's happening for a lot of companies on how do they do it better. They've been doing it, but how do they do it better? I talked to a lot of employees that have been hired in this last 12 months. And they talk about the challenges of collaboration. They talk about the challenges of getting to know their boss well, or, how do they establish themselves, within their team, when they've never met them. I mean, everybody else has met prior, but they're the only one that's new in a virtual way. And so being thoughtful about that and having some strategies to do that is also necessary. And some of the skills that are just really important in this remote and possibly virtual working arrangement are some of those, maybe they may have been called soft skills. But when you think about how we need to work with people that we're not sitting next to, we don't get to, walk down the hall and just ask a question. You don't go to lunch and, kind of build that camaraderie with. So our communication skills are really, really critical now. And so, how you manage your time, how collaborative are you? What's your presence like over video? Do you have some of that emotional intelligence skills where you can, pay attention and tune in and, kind of gauge the folks that you're working with, and likewise have them be able to engage with you as well. And it's incumbent on the candidate, if you're out there looking for work or if you're pursuing a promotion, to be able to convey that you have those skills and to be able to talk about how you put those skills in motion in the work that you're doing. And so being able to, tell a story about that or express an example of how you've been able to do that, how you manage your time, virtually at home with your family and getting projects done. So all of those things are going to be even more important as we continue going forward, and not just having them, but articulating them and conveying that you have them in a way that that your potential employer or your current boss can understand that you are that you have this value, that you can do these things in those situations. So learning those and knowing those and just knowing that they're going to be important. If you think about, I always, when I'm working with my clients, I always say, imagine, being on the other side of the table, put yourself in their shoes, right? Imagine what that, potential hiring manager or your boss, what do they need? What do they need to know or hear from you in order to be able to, either, learn about you or trust that you're going to be able to do it, or understand the value that you bring. Sometimes just putting yourself on, on their side of the table, if you will, or on the other side of the screen, if you will, in our virtual world, what it is that they need can help, kind of bring to light some things that might not have been apparent to you as you're moving through this process. I always, say with my clients that I know that your name's at the top of the resume, or, things are coming from you. But when you're pursuing career transition, it's not about you. It's about them, and it's about what they need. So the more that you can understand what they need, the better position you're in to deliver that and to help them get that. So job search strategies and tips. So start early. A lot of my clients come to me when, when they're super frustrated, when they've been laid off, when they just can't take it anymore. And the reason that that's challenging is you've probably already expended a lot of energy by that point. And to be engaged in, career development or in career transition or starting your own business takes a lot of energy. And it takes, some desire and motivation, to do the work that's required of it. And if you're already feeling, beaten down, or if your self-esteem has taken a big hit, or if you're already tired because you've spent 6 months sending out thousands of resumes, you're coming to this point, with this journey in front of you, already depleted. And, you always want to be able to present yourself as enthusiastic and motivated and eager, for this next opportunity that you're pursuing. And so start earlier than you might think is necessary. And even if it's just, doing some, organization work, or just some kind of, thinking work about what you might want to do, before you get to that point where it's like, oh, now I'm kind of cranky about it, right? So start early. It's always a good tip. Find others in similar job search journey. There's going to be a lot. Find out from your friends or colleagues, who else is, going through this process. And it always helps to have others that you can collaborate with or find allegiance with, network with, all of that. Find support and accountability with. So it's always a great thing to do that with others. Job search can feel like a very solo and a very individual and a very lonely process. So when you realize and find and know that you're not the only one that, gets scared before an interview, or not the only one who doesn't know how to put a resume together, or you're not the only one that, just doesn't know how to talk on LinkedIn, you'll find that everybody feels these same things, and that can be comforting. Make a plan and be strategic. So when I work with my clients, we work on several different strategic plans. We work on a specific networking plan. We work on a specific job search strategy plan. We work on a time management plan. And so think about, you know, being strategic kind of in which areas would be most beneficial for you. And, you know, maybe just start with one to start and think, how do I want to move forward? You know, having a job search plan that would be included. How much time do I want to spend each week doing this? It's a great place to start. And so even if you just, you know, think about your current week. So I know we had some folks that are currently unemployed and some folks that are employed that are looking. So there's two different, you know, situations for individuals. And so evaluate, just start, how much time a week do I have to dedicate to this? And be realistic. I'll often, you know, talk to new clients and they'll say, well, I want to spend like 10 hours a week. And then I have them actually chart it for a week and they're like, you know, I think I had like 2 hours. So be realistic with it and go, okay, I have 2 hours. What can I do with my 2 hours? And so, because you want to set yourself up for success. You want to be able to go, I did good in my 2 hours, right? And so identify how many hours and then, you know, break out what you want to do with that time. Another great tip is, and this one is some of the deep work, but identify the type of work you want to do and who you want to do it for. So, you know, I think probably the majority of my clients come to me and say, I don't know what I want exactly. I'm not happy. I want something different, but I don't know exactly what that is. And like I said, this is the deep work where you know, a lot of coaching comes into play and a lot of discussions. But you can also, you know, do some of this on your own to start out with and to start thinking about, we often start at, what do I want to do? Which is actually a really hard question to ask sometimes. So I always suggest that start with, who do you want to do it for? Like, where do you want to do it? Like, do you want to do it? I mean, it could be everything from the certain industry that totally excites you. Maybe you love, you know, the movie making industry. Maybe you love the tech industry. Maybe you love the outdoor industry and you want to work with a company that's involved in, you know, activity and athletics and that sort of thing. Or maybe you want to, you know, work for somebody that is mission-based and has a cause that you can really believe in. And so sometimes starting with that allows you to just hang your hat on something, you know, and it's like, okay, that sounds interesting. Well, what could I do for them? Then could be the kind of the secondary step to help you just, you know, go further down that path. But at least it gives you an idea when people ask you, because people always will. So what is it that you want to do? And it's always just so, you know, it feels so hard when you don't feel like you have a really great answer for that. But if you said, you know what, I really, I want to work for a cause-based nonprofit that is dealing with hunger. And I just have a real passion for that. And I just really want to learn more about it and want to find those organizations that work in that space. I don't know what I would do for them at this moment, but you know, that's just super important to me. It just gives you something to start with. So that can be a good place to just kind of launch you in this process. Develop and practice your elevator pitch, or as I often call it, your personal branding statement. And we're gonna get to that in a minute. And but that is something that takes effort, and it's not something you want to just wing. It's not something that you want to just put to chance. It's something that you want to spend some time talking about and thinking about and crafting and developing and then practicing it, not in your head, but out loud. And because the more you do it, the more comfortable you get with it, the better it is. And the more willing you will be to have conversations, right? Because it's often a thing that stops us. It's like, well, I can't reach out to my network because, oh my, what am I going to say? I don't know what to say. So when you kind of, you know, remove that worry or that anxiety, you're much more prone to actually engage in networking. You're much more prone to like pursue an informational interview and to have conversations that can help further this process with you. And then network. Bears saying 3 times, network, network, network. So networking is not about who you know. Networking is about who knows you. And so I always describe this as kind of these concentric circles, right? So we can even think about it in a LinkedIn term, right? So we have our first level connections on LinkedIn, we have second level connections and third level connections. So our first level connections are those that know us, that already know us really well. And in most cases, nobody in your first level connection is going to hire you. They don't have a job for you. Their job is not to hire people. It's just not something they can do. So the person who ultimately is going to probably hire you is either going to be a current second or third level connection. And so they don't even know you exist yet. And so in order to be known, you need to expand your network. You need to get more people into that first circle of first level contacts. And so again, it's not who you know, it's who knows you. And the other piece about networking that I think sends people into a, just want to curl up on the couch under the blanket and not go do it, because we think networking is about asking for something. Network is really about getting educated. Network is about connecting and getting educated, because the more we know, the more effective we can be in our network, in our job search efforts. So if you approach networking from a perspective or a mindset of saying, I want to just get educated. Maybe I want to get educated about that nonprofit who, they deal with hunger issues. I just want to learn more. That's networking. So, think of it in that way, that allows you to more easily lean into it. And then, the more you know, the more effective you can be. So any questions on any of this so far? Because the next thing I want to do is I want to just give us an opportunity to have some fun with elevator pitch.
Yes, please, everyone, you can unmute yourself, share your first impression or what you want to remember about this presentation, or maybe a question. Thank you so much, Cindy. There's so much into that already. There's a lot of information in.
There is
so
a lot, I know.
Yeah, but it's amazing. You said many things that are really so impactful. Just the last one about networking is not about who you know, but who knows you.
Absolutely.
It's not about asking for something, but learning. I want to learn about something, so it's really
it really reframes it. It makes it a whole lot easier. I mean, if you take nothing away from today, but that I hope that is super.
Yeah. The second one is really being, being ready. Just anticipate that, not waiting for things to get really bad. So being the leader about your career and where you want to go, and that's a really key element. So is anyone who want to ask a question, please, or share your first thoughts about that? Well, unmute yourself.
Hi, this is Maria, and I have a question about, in a way, about the elevator pitch. So in the past, on a resume, if you put your summary or something, I might describe myself as a program management professional, or in my current role, I'm called an administrator. But if you're in, so if you use program management, sometimes that sounds like software, and that's not my thing. Or if you use administrator, that might give the impression that I want to be all day typing up somebody's letters. So how do you get away from the job titles that can be really limiting when you when you do your elevator pitch without droning on and on and on?
Well, Maria, I should pay you $1 for setting me up so perfectly to talk about this next thing, because that's actually a perfect example of how to have either your elevator pitch or how to be able to talk about yourself in ways that are relatable or transferable to more than one situation. So I'm going to answer this question by sharing the strategy, and then we'll see if we can help you come up with one here, and then ask me more questions if there's more questions on it. So a personal branding statement or elevator pitch is something that I spend a lot of time working with clients on when we're doing that one-on-one coaching. This is a style or a structure that I've adapted from Adam Lipzig's TED Talk, and because it's fairly quick. And I think it's also a great way to just reframe what this is about, reframe what an elevator pitch is, because sometimes we need to kind of get away from, like we were saying, I'm stuck on this job title, right? And so how do I move away from that? So so this structure starts out with just these 5 questions. So it starts out with, who are you? And who are you? So I'm Cindy. And so what do you do? And so what do you do is asking, you know, what is what do you offer to people, right? So so it's not just a job title, right? It's actually what it is that that you do in the work that you do. Another way to think about this is, what do you love to do, right? So you could kind of fill in with that. Or another way to think about it still would be, what is what's the one thing that you feel like supremely qualified to teach, right? You know, so that you know it so well that you could teach it, right? That's another way to sometimes kind of bubble up, you know, this superpower, or this special talent that you have. What do you do? Who do you do it for? So who's the audience that you deliver it for? You know, is it, you know, do you do it for a customer? Do you do it for you know, the accounting department? Do you do it for professional women? Do you, you know, who do you do it for? And what do they want or need? Why do they come to you for this? Like, what is their reason for needing this from you? What is the problem that you solve for them? And then the last question is, how do they change or transform as a result of what you've done? Because that's really where the rubber hits the road. That's like the transformation piece, that you've impacted, that there's been a result that has come from what you do with them. Okay. So what I want to do is just, who wants to play? I hope you guys came ready to play. And so if there's anybody that would be willing to, you know, jump on here, we can go into breakout rooms, but we're a small group. So I just thought we could just all stay here together. And is there anybody that wants to give this a try?
I like it. I'm not going to put myself there because I'm a coach and it's a niche description. I'm not going to go there. But Maria, if you want to jump in, anyone, if you want to jump in, please go ahead. We're going to have fun. And Virginie, anyone who wants.
I can try to start. So my name is Maria. I am an organization. I'm an organizer. And I have done it before. I work at the University of Washington. I've worked in healthcare. Currently, I work for a small language department. I would like to continue doing the organization part. I think I'm interested now in moving into possibly healthcare advocacy. And how do they change? Departments or wherever I work, typically I go in and I just focus on trying to build a better mousetrap, always trying to innovate and just organize and clean up and put in processes.
Okay, thank you, Maria, for jumping in and for showing us all how to do this. So everybody just, yeah, just a round of applause.
Clap, virtual clap or.
Absolutely, yeah. So Maria, tell me more about who you do it for. I know you named departments and, you know, organizations, companies, but who are they? Who's your end user? Are they managers? Are they marketing professionals? Are they frontline workers? Are they, you know, kind of like who's the audience?
Well, now it would be, I work under a chair,
okay.
But I work with all the faculty,
okay,
most directly. And yeah, so it's more, I'm more involved in, we don't have clients, so to speak, and I don't get involved with students.
And when you say, I'm going back to what do you do? When you say you organize, tell me a little bit more about that. Like what are you're solving some sort of problem. Organizing is actually huge. So what is the, you know, kind of what's the problem that you're solving? What are you doing?
It's everything. I mean, I'm finance, I'm faculty appointments, you know, I mean, that's the problem. There's so many different aspects.
Mm-hmm.
And when it's a small department on limited resources, I'm also the one managing the resources and doing the distribution of what can be done on the within a limited amount of money.
So you're the point person. So whether you're the
Right.
strategic and operational point person to I mean, so, and also a lot of times when I work with clients with this, that the thesaurus is one of my favorite tools. And so if you have not, you know, logged on to thesaurus.com recently, I encourage you to do it. And so plug in these words that, because we get stuck really. And often our limited ability to talk about ourselves is really a limit of vocabulary. So literally type in organizing and see what other words come up. Type in, you could type in point person and see what else comes up. You could talk about, you could put in project management and see what other words come up. Expand your vocabulary around this, and it helps you get often more clear and more precise around describing yourself and what it is that you do. And so, Maria, so as the point person responsible for, you know, whether it's the you know, problem solving or strategic direction, I'm not exactly sure yet, but I'm throwing out just some ideas, you know, so the operational efficiency of, you know, of departments in order to align, you know, finances, you know, human resources, human capital, you know, time, money, energy, effort, in order for, you know, the department or the team to run most efficiently.
Yeah, I mean, I think you're right. It does encapsulate HR, the capital, and it's kind of all over the map.
Right, right. And so when we think about these transferable skills, we think about translating what we do for other entities, you know, and academia is a, you know, it's kind of a tent on, you know, among itself. It doesn't always relate to, you know, other industries and whatnot. So that's where we really have to scrub some of those words, and we need to find, you know, again, our friend, the thesaurus, that can help us have more universal and understandable and transferable language that relates to all sorts of other industries, if you're pursuing other industries outside the one that you're in. And so being able to convey the impact of your work, that's why the change or transformation at the bottom here. So at the end of the day, are you able to, did you save money in the budget? Did you get the product out the door sooner? Did you increase employee morale? Did you launch a new product? So, you know, thinking about, and again, I know that, you know, each of us individually didn't launch a product. Each of us individually didn't save $1 million, you know, on Friday. But if we were part of it, then we still get to own that. We still get to claim that. So just because it was the group that did it, you know, if your role was part of, you know, launching the product, then that's part of your story.
Okay, thanks.
Yeah. Anyone else want to raise their hand? Where are we at with time? Are we okay with time?
It's 6 to 18.
Okay, let's do
No,
that
this is
one.
20.
So, someone else want to raise their hand?
So maybe if someone is interested, just go ahead. That's your lucky day.
Don't be shy. We all learn.
I can try.
Awesome. Nicholas, right?
So my name is Nicholas Argon. What do I do? I have a philosophy degree, so philosophy and more around ethics. Who would I do it for? Tech, so either stuff with social media or around like automation, you know, vehicles, all that kind of stuff. What do they want or need? I think we're in dire need of a lot more interdisciplinary research. So like in machine learning, when we are building these kinds of machines, what sort of principles we want them to operate by. Are there some rules that we want them to violate or not? And how do you figure out those first principles that we want those machines to have? Or if it's social media, right, that impacts our politics, our economics, our social relations, our business, and impacts literally everything. So we do need like interdisciplinary, we absolutely need it. And one facet of that is ethics. How do we do, those social relations, even in politics and economy? And then how do they change or transform as a result of what you do? Well, I haven't really been in contact with my potential there yet, so I am really not sure exactly what I can contribute at this point, but that is definitely my passion. I'm really interested in those questions, those big questions of social organization, of social ethics, and into emerging technologies that impact us all.
I love that. Round of applause for Nicholas. Thank you for sharing.
Yeah, that was inspiring. Thank you, Nicholas. And
Yes,
how can you quantify and monetize the impact of ethics?
right.
Yeah.
I can absolutely feel and see your passion for this. I love that. Kudos. Very good. I want to target in on what do you do? What do you do is a verb. So again, that's why kind of going to the thesaurus and looking this up and expanding our vocabulary. So, I don't know if we do ethics, right? I mean, we think ethics, we talk ethics, we process, we ponder, we relate, we convey, I'm just kind of rolling through just a bunch of different kind of verbs around what do we do with that philosophical, deep thinking around these issues, right? And so you're taking this, kind of deep thinking activity and putting it on top of, business, right? I mean, so how does it interlace with actually getting product out the door, making business happen? So give some thought around like that, the verb, so are you, are you contemplating, are you, Carney, are you engaging, and are you interlacing the, the ethical and philosophical needs and impacts that people have into our business operations, and specifically in social media and technology realms, in order to design, I don't know, better models, and you could actually research that too, where you could just Google, where do, philosophy and ethics, interface with, designing better social media? What happens? What are we doing in those spaces, to give you just some other better words for that? And to be able to, say, what do we need is, what do they need is they need to, really, they need to think about these things before they, put out the product, right? That this type of thinking and preparation needs to happen in the development and creative stage of these products, in order to, again, one, just be a better product, but to to be relative and to relate to how we all engage with social media in ways that are, I mean, because like you said, it impacts us politically, socially, economically, every way that we do that. So get clear on that. What are you doing? Are you, how is your knowledge and your passion for that work, that body of work, how are you interfacing with the, with the tech, the social media, with the business world, in order to help make those products better?
Yeah,
But-
in that description, would it be useful to also mention like what I'm not so good at? Like I would say, to answer that question, I would be like, I'm really good at abstract thinking, so being able to identify the morally salient variables in whatever is necessary, and then from there, to me, the best option would be building methodologies for, okay, how then do we have a procedure for if we encounter this situation, or what about this situation? and then developing those methodologies and then communicating those as well. And then, but yeah, then to my question would be like, I definitely feel my weaknesses and like I don't have a lot of technical proficiency, and I feel like I would need to be able to understand what the engineer is doing or what the the programmer is doing to then be able to identify and think abstractly and then have that communication between those levels.
Yeah.
I don't know if that is worth mentioning, or how do you like
No, I
communicate
think
that?
in an elevator pitch, it's not a, it's not a thesis. It's a short, kind of a thing. So I think it's focused on, kind of using these 5 questions or these 5 points as kind of your anchor for that. I love how you mapped out and further identified, the different modules, how you would map that out and what their impact would be. That is, that's relative, right? And so kind of even going back to Maria, your book kind of has this academia angle to what you're doing. But the relativity of that, the transferableness of that's very understandable and it's very important and it's relatable to go, okay, right. I can see how you're taking this deep thought and how you're incorporating it into a structure that's going to be useful as these products or services and are being developed and created. I don't think in this scenario that it behooves you or is as relevant to talk about what you don't know. That can come up in other ways, and there's other ways to even kind of manage that part of the conversation. But this is really coming from you. This is all your strength. This is all your passion. This is all the service and the in service of you and who you want to do that with. So I think you just stay all about you and all, you keep that passion strong and, you can get excited about what you love to do and think about and create with that and how you're going to make something better with it. So you've got that. Love it.
Sweet.
Great. So we still have 5 minutes left. Cindy, went really fast.
Yeah, it did go really fast. I know I talk so much, you guys. There's so
No, you talked really well and really fast. And I think if nobody has a question, I have one more question, but really short answer. Why is that important to have this elevator pitch? Why? Why did you pick this topic to focus on and to do that exercise? So that maybe.
Want me to answer that question? Say that you said why did I pick this?
Why?
Yeah. This is, as I mentioned, when we move into the space where we're thinking about career progression, we're thinking about advancement, development, or transition in our careers. If we are not comfortable talking about ourselves, it makes everything so much harder, and we just don't do it. And so starting with having something to talk about that we feel good about, that gives us a way that doesn't, limit us, like Maria said, with just a job description. It doesn't limit us in ways that we can't convey it to other people. And what I liked about this model, this structure, is that it mixes it up. It's a different approach, and I think everybody has something to say under this structure that kind of frees us from, saying, I'm an accountant and I have been an accountant for 7 years and I want to be an accountant in my next job. There's nothing inspiring about that.
Okay, thank you. Just wanted to make sure, we share that so that, we kind of focus specifically.
Yes.
And so we are at the end. So I just want to thank everyone. And also Cindy has been very generous. So you're going to receive, you're going to be able to connect with Cindy, have a LinkedIn profile, a website, career club also that she's animating every week.
Yes.
And we're going to send you a thank you note and with resources and specific, what do you call that, template around networking.
Yes. Yeah, actually it's an ebook that I'm sharing with the group today. That really maps out a really strong structure for building your networking strategy plan. So happy to share that with everybody. And I encourage you all, feel free to please reach out and connect with me on LinkedIn. And also, I do host a weekly career club. If that is something you're interested in, to join weekly for support, networking, accountability, masterminding. We do that every Thursday. So you'll get
Thank
details
you.
as well.
Thank you so much, Cindy. It was an
Thank
amazing
you.
presentation and
Thank
learned
you,
a lot.
Cindy.
And Huguette, is
Thank
there
you.
anything you want to add regarding
Just that I will send an email to everyone with all these resources, the link to the video, the link to the PDF that Cindy is giving you as a gift. And if you have any question, don't hesitate to reply to the email or, you know, anything we can do to help you.
Please,
Yeah,
yes.
so we can all, you know, end saying a big thank you with our reaction. And if you want to share maybe in the chat box, how was this experience for you? If this maybe first event, please put in the chat box. I'm going to make it. I'm going to stop myself. Amazing.
Good. I'm so glad. Thank you, everybody. And
Thank you.
yeah, hope that was helpful, and it was fun talking with you all.
Thank you, Cindy.
Thank you.
Thank you, everyone.
Have a good evening, everyone.
Have a good evening.
Thank you, Cindy. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye, everyone. Hi, TF. You can stay with us if you want.
I just want to read the comments real quick and see if there's anything else that that would be helpful just to know as a takeaway.
We can save the chat.
Yes, I think it's going to be saved. Yeah, I'm going to stop the recording if that's okay.
Virginie is calling me on this line.